An undersized grounding conductor can lead to grounding issues. These issues can manifest in several ways. Firstly, voltage potential buildup. The ground conductor provides a path for fault current to return to the source. An undersized ground conductor can increase the voltage potential of the grounding system, which can compromise the safety of electrical equipment and personnel. Secondly, ground loop impedance. The impedance of the ground loop, which is the combined resistance of the grounding electrode, conductor, and equipment grounding, can become excessive. This reduces the effectiveness of the grounding system to clear fault currents. Adding a ground rod at the panel board location can supplement the undersized ground conductor, but it may not fully resolve the issue. The effectiveness of a ground rod depends on the soil conditions and moisture levels. To address the grounding issue, it is recommended to firstly replace the number 8 ground conductor with the number 1 ground conductor. This will ensure compliance with NEC 250.122 and provide a sufficient path for fault current return. Secondly, consider additional grounding measures. If the soil conditions are poor or there are concerns about the effectiveness of the ground rod, additional grounding measures may be necessary. These measures can include installing multiple ground rods, installing a grounding ring, or using a grounding grid. The minimum size of a grounding conductor for a 120/208 volts, one-phase system is typically number 8 AWG. However, when the phase conductors are upsized, the ground conductor must be proportionately increased in size. NEC 250.56 requires that grounding electrodes be installed in accordance with NEC Article 250, Part Roman 3. This section specifies the requirements for grounding electrodes, including their location, number, and depth. It is important to consult with a qualified electrician to determine the appropriate grounding measures for your specific application. When dealing with electrical systems, safety is paramount. Grounding conductors play a vital role in ensuring this safety by providing a low impedance path for fault currents to return to the source. This path helps to quickly trip circuit breakers or fuses, minimizing the risk of electrical shock and equipment damage. When a fault occurs, such as a short circuit, a large current flows through the grounding conductor. If the conductor is undersized, it may not be able to handle this current effectively. This can lead to several problems. One problem is an increase in the voltage potential of the grounding system. This means that the voltage between the grounding system and the earth can rise to dangerous levels. This can pose a risk to anyone who comes into contact with grounded equipment or metal surfaces. Another problem is an increase in ground loop impedance. Impedance is the total opposition to current flow in an alternating current circuit. A high ground loop impedance can reduce the effectiveness of the grounding system in clearing fault currents. This can slow down the tripping of circuit breakers or fuses, increasing the duration of the fault and the risk of electrical shock and equipment damage. The NEC provides specific requirements for the size of grounding conductors. These requirements are based on the size of the phase conductors and the type of electrical system. When phase conductors are upsized to compensate for voltage drop, the grounding conductor must also be upsized proportionally. In the situation presented, the phase conductors were upsized from number 4 to number 4/0. This required a corresponding increase in the size of the grounding conductor from number 8 to number 1. Failing to upsize the grounding conductor can create a safety hazard. While adding a ground rod at the panel board location can help to improve the grounding system, it may not fully resolve the issue of an undersized grounding conductor. A ground rod provides a path for fault current to dissipate into the earth. However, the effectiveness of a ground rod depends on several factors, including the soil conditions and moisture levels. In areas with poor soil conductivity, a single ground rod may not provide adequate grounding. In such cases, additional grounding measures may be necessary. These measures can include installing multiple ground rods, spacing them at least 6 feet apart. This helps to reduce the overall impedance of the grounding system. Another option is to install a grounding ring. A grounding ring is a continuous loop of bare copper conductor that is buried around the perimeter of a building or structure. The grounding ring is connected to the building's grounding system and provides a low impedance path for fault current to dissipate into the earth. A grounding grid is a network of interconnected bare copper conductors that are buried in the earth. Grounding grids are typically used in large electrical substations and industrial facilities to provide a comprehensive grounding system. In addition to these measures, it is also important to ensure that all grounding connections are clean and tight. Loose or corroded connections can increase the impedance of the grounding system and reduce its effectiveness. Grounding connections should be inspected regularly and cleaned or tightened as needed. It is also important to use the correct type of grounding connectors and hardware. These connectors should be listed and labeled for the specific application. Using the wrong type of connector can compromise the integrity of the grounding system. When working with electrical systems, it is always best to consult with a qualified electrician. An electrician can assess the specific situation and recommend the appropriate grounding measures. They can also ensure that all work is performed in accordance with the NEC and other applicable codes. Proper grounding is essential for electrical safety. By following the requirements of the NEC and consulting with a qualified electrician, one can help to ensure that the electrical system is properly grounded and that it provides a safe and reliable source of power. Remember that electrical codes like the NEC are updated regularly, so it's crucial to stay informed about the latest requirements. This might involve taking continuing education courses or subscribing to industry publications. Furthermore, different jurisdictions might have their own specific interpretations or amendments to the NEC, so it's important to be aware of local regulations. When working on electrical projects, always prioritize safety. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment, such as insulated gloves and safety glasses. Energize circuits before working on them whenever possible, and use lockout/tagout procedures to prevent accidental re-energization. Double-check all connections and ensure that they are properly tightened. If unsure about any aspect of the electrical work, seek the advice of a qualified electrician. The consequences of improper grounding can be severe, ranging from electrical shocks to fires. Taking the necessary precautions can significantly reduce these risks. Principles of grounding extend beyond residential and commercial buildings. They also apply to industrial facilities, data centers, and other specialized applications. In these environments, grounding systems are often more complex and require careful design and installation. For example, data centers often employ isolated grounding systems to minimize electrical noise and interference. These systems require specialized knowledge and expertise. Industrial facilities may require grounding systems that can withstand harsh environmental conditions, such as corrosive chemicals or extreme temperatures. These systems may involve the use of special grounding conductors and connectors. In summary, grounding is a critical aspect of electrical safety. Understanding the principles of grounding and following the requirements of the NEC can help to ensure that electrical systems are properly grounded and that they provide a safe and reliable source of power. When faced with the situation of an undersized grounding conductor, the best course of action is to replace it with the correct size conductor. Supplementing with a ground rod might offer some improvement, but it's not a substitute for a properly sized grounding conductor. The ground rod's effectiveness is heavily dependent on soil conditions, which can vary significantly. Replacing the conductor ensures compliance with the NEC and provides a reliable low-impedance path for fault current. Also, it's worthwhile to inspect the entire grounding system for any other potential issues, such as corroded connections or damaged conductors. A comprehensive approach to grounding will provide the greatest level of safety. Consider a scenario where there is a fault in the electrical system, and a large current flows through the undersized grounding conductor. The conductor might overheat, potentially melting the insulation and creating a fire hazard. Furthermore, the increased impedance of the undersized conductor can cause the voltage on the equipment to rise to dangerous levels, posing a risk of electric shock to anyone who touches the equipment. By upsizing the grounding conductor, these risks are significantly reduced. The larger conductor can handle the fault current without overheating, and the lower impedance helps to keep the voltage on the equipment at a safe level. The cost of upsizing the grounding conductor is relatively small compared to the potential cost of an electrical fire or injury. It's a worthwhile investment in safety. Remember to properly torque all grounding connections to ensure a low impedance path. Loose connections can significantly increase the impedance and reduce the effectiveness of the grounding system. Use a calibrated torque wrench to ensure that all connections are tightened to the manufacturer's specifications. Regularly inspect grounding connections for corrosion and tightness. Corrosion can increase the impedance of the connection and reduce its effectiveness. If corrosion is present, clean the connection and retorque it. In harsh environments, it might be necessary to use corrosion-resistant grounding connectors and hardware. Grounding is not a set-it-and-forget-it system. It requires ongoing maintenance and inspection to ensure that it remains effective. By taking the time to properly ground the electrical system, one can create a safer environment for everyone. Also, proper grounding helps to protect sensitive electronic equipment from damage due to voltage surges and transients. Voltage surges can occur due to lightning strikes, power grid switching, or other electrical disturbances. These surges can damage or destroy electronic equipment if it is not properly grounded. A properly grounded system provides a path for the surge current to flow safely to ground, protecting the equipment. In addition to protecting equipment from damage, proper grounding can also improve the performance of electronic equipment. Electrical noise can interfere with the operation of sensitive electronic equipment, causing it to malfunction. A properly grounded system helps to reduce electrical noise and improve the performance of the equipment. It is important to understand the difference between grounding and bonding. Grounding is the connection of an electrical system to the earth. Bonding is the connection of metal parts of an electrical system together to create a low impedance path for fault current. Both grounding and bonding are essential for electrical safety. Grounding provides a path for fault current to return to the source, while bonding ensures that all metal parts of the electrical system are at the same potential, reducing the risk of electric shock. In addition to the NEC, there are other standards and guidelines that provide information on grounding and bonding. These include the IEEE Green Book and the ANSI/NETA standards. These standards provide more detailed information on the design, installation, and testing of grounding and bonding systems. When designing a grounding system, it is important to consider the specific application and the potential hazards. For example, a hospital requires a more robust grounding system than a typical office building. This is because hospitals contain sensitive medical equipment that is susceptible to electrical noise and interference. The grounding system in a hospital must be designed to minimize electrical noise and protect the equipment from damage. Similarly, an industrial facility that uses heavy machinery requires a grounding system that can handle large fault currents. The grounding system must be designed to quickly clear fault currents and protect workers from electric shock. In summary, grounding is a complex and critical aspect of electrical safety. It requires careful design, installation, and maintenance. By following the requirements of the NEC and other applicable standards, and by consulting with a qualified electrician, it can be ensured that electrical systems are properly grounded and that they provide a safe and reliable source of power.